Undertale. Great game, great characters. So great, in fact, that for the past 10 years, people have been creating stories about this game called alternate universes or AUs. There is an overwhelming amount of these AUs, so people have decided to make crossovers of these AUs called trios. I usually consider myself pretty knowledgeable when it comes to this side of the fandom, but I've only heard of one of the trios that I'll be covering today, so sit back, relax, and let's get it. First up on our list, we have Forced Changes, a trio involving Last Breath Sans, Underswap Vengeance Sans, and Spin Shift Sans. Gonna be some of the most niche AUs, I swear to God. Except for Last Breath, we all know him, learns about your genocides, gets Gaster's help, gets possessed, and dies in Phase 3. Meanwhile, Underswap Vengeance Sans is a world where all of the characters get their roles swapped with another character, Sans and Papyrus, Gaster, River Person, Toriel, and Esgor. Underswap Sans meets River Person, but instead of playing nice, like in Last Breath, River Person invades Sans' mind and removes his kindness. If you know about Undertale Revenge, it's the Underswap version of that. Then Spin Shift or Revert Shift. Wiki, you're throwing, bro. Spin Shift is essentially an AU where Sans and Asgore had their roles swapped and then swapped back. So Sans has a cardboard crown, ties to royalty, and is overall a little bit more fucking, I don't know. It's basically Sans with a cardboard crown. This is the first trio and I'm already asking my Discord for help. Dear God. And my comment section, since all of this wiki has to say about the story is this. So shout out to Deathship and let's get into the story. Story time. Forced Changes takes place in the Last Breath timeline, like in many other trios. Last Breath Gaster pulls the other two Sanses to help take out the human. Somebody's gonna check out Fan and Last Breath Gaster, bro. He's kind of cracked. Anyway, they try their luck at the human in Phase 1, but no dice. They all get attacked. Spin Shift dodges, Vengeance Sans blocks, and Last Breath tanks it, all moving into their Phase 2 form. If this guy even has a Phase 2 form. And once again, they fall short. Bro is trying so hard to beat this Trust Sans. With no other option, Last Breath goes into his Phase 3, while the other two, well, they get some help. This trio is like the first ever to remember that Flowey is still alive. So bro goes and nabs two of the human souls, Justice and Bravery, and gives them to Spin Shift and Vengeance respectively. Vengeance Sans gets the Bravery gloves. Meanwhile, for Spin Shift's neutral special, he wields a gun. Now, we've got three Sanses, Flowey, Clover, and whoever the orange soul is, but unfortunately, all of this is still not enough. So, it's time for plan B. They just fucking book it, bro. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. This AU has got to have the most sensible characters for you all. Like, having Flowey, using the souls, running the fuck away when it's not working, that's just common sense. But, as it turns out, it was all part of the plan. After leading the human to the barrier with the other human souls, Flowey absorbs them all, plus the Sans' souls to become Asriel Dreamer? Does this count as the fusion? Trio fusion? The trio special? I'm counting it. I've always wondered how Asriel Dreamer stacks up to these AU Sanses, and hey, bro seems to be doing pretty well, as it seems like he's invulnerable. Yeah, I guess infinite defense will do that. Someone please make one of those Goku power scaling things, but for Asriel and Sans AUs. Anyway, it seems we've come to an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. So the human tries to call out to the souls, which I don't get why they keep trying to do in genocide. Like, you really think that these children fuck with you after all you did? They don't! Shay! Anyway, instead of being met with the human souls, Vengeance Sans tells the human that they don't deserve a second chance, leading into Phase 5, where Asriel starts flying around and shit. I think that means he's stronger, but not strong enough to defeat the human. So, we do the next trio special after fusion, and send 50 billion trios after the human. First, Bad Time Trio, then Karmatic Time Trio, then Comical Time Trio? I'm not even gonna try to understand that one. Murder Time Trio, Double Cross Trio, Chaotic Time Trio, Royal Judgment Trio. Are we done? Okay, and Former Time Trio. Now that's it. He then absorbs all those Sans' souls? How? There's no way this shit is canon, Deathship. The jury is still out on that one, but damn. With this power, he is definitely able to overcome the human and absorb their soul too. They can do that? Well, I guess they aren't refusing death and genocide, so I guess sure. He didn't even go full god of hyperdeath. I suppose he needed to absorb the entire underground for that, but you had like 50 Sans souls. Surely that's enough. Now, with the fight over, the trio plus Asriel break the barrier and leave with what little monsters remain after the root. Oh well, at least they killed the human. And yeah, that's Forced Changes. I couldn't find any information on the last video I wanted to cover this one, so thanks Deathship for leaving this monster in my comments, and thanks to my Discord for answering my questions about it. Next up on our list is Undertale Hacked Memories Trio. This trio was made by Corey Animations, someone who apparently watched my last trio video. Hi Corey! And it contains Karma is a big Sans, VHS Sans, and Insanity Sans. Karma Sans, explanation is in the name. They use Karma to power themselves up and defeat the human. Then VHS Sans. First VHS mention on the channel, finally. Essentially, he's what happens when you try to hack past the Undertale hacker's ending and destroy the timeline. Someone tell Yamada. Then Insanity Sans. He got injected with determination by Gasta and ended up going insane. Who would have guessed? He killed everyone in Snowden. I'm not so sure how these Sanses came together canonically, but later on we hear that Insanity had to come to help, so I assume this is Karma's universe and the other two just showed up to help because the human was hacking or something. Anyway, trio time! Hacked Memories has 3 phases, and half of these guys also have 3 phases. I don't know what Insanity does, to be honest, but phase 1, everyone's normal. You wouldn't be able to tell these two apart if they didn't have those debatably canon eyes. We get a small scene of what it looks like on the Sans' end when the human tries attacking them, and damn, look how slow we're attacking. Kara, lock in! Anyway, eventually, the human is able to land a decisive blow on Karma, since I think they're the only one who can be harmed out of the 3. However, he just heals it up using Karma, and we move on to phase 2. I don't know what Insanity's eyes are doing, I swear to god. Every trio has him doing something different in phase 2. But I'm just gonna assume he's stronger now. VHS Sans is, if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not even sure if this one is Sans anymore. He grabs the human's attack, as you do, and we get to scrapping. Why is Bro's feet bleeding? It looks like the computer can't handle the fights or the human's hacking, possibly the reason why VHS arrived. But that isn't enough to stop the trio, as with the help of VH Sans, the trio erupt onto the computer and continue the fight. However, all of this isn't enough. Once again, the human attacks Karma. Why did you two stop? You ain't in danger. Realizing they're at a stalemate, Karma uses his final ace in the hole, a vial of determination, pushing him into phase 3. VHS Sans also pushes himself into phase 3 on some revenge papyrus shit. He becomes a floating head and some hands. And Insanity Sans, he's doing his best. And after all is said and done, the human is finally defeated. The soul's trapped in one of the capsules, but like, is the soul even worth preserving? Forget the surface world. I don't think the game itself survived this fight. But yeah, that's Hacked Memories, one of Corey's older animations, which when compared to his most recent work is quite noticeable. Not to knock this animation, but the stuff he's making today is on a whole nother level, so go check him out. Really happy to see some VHS Sans finally. Let's hope the next trio will be just as exciting. Finally, I get to talk about the only trio I have any outside knowledge of, Inexistent Freedom. Don't worry, you'll understand this one too. Originally made by Golden Flowers, why does that name sound so familiar? They created a Sans, Jevil, and SPAMTON OST remix. Then the GOAT, Venice de Lapis, made an animation about it, so that's what we'll be covering today. We start with Chris walking down some kind of hallway. It's been too long since I've played this game for me to guess where bro is. Wherever they are, they aren't alone. Jevil cheap shots them, and Sans arrives to monologue, telling Chris that he lost his memories of Undertale until recently, but after falling into the dark world, he regained his memories. Maybe he had met Gasta, maybe not, but you know who did meet Gasta? These two! With the 3 most popular characters in the franchise, they begin brawling with the human, doing some pretty sick combo attacks and low-key jumping Chris since they don't have the fun gang with them. In this AU, Sans makes it out that Chris is the bad guy here, having a soul that ain't theirs and threatening to tell the gang about it, but have you seen the type of shit that we've been making Chris do? The bro's going through enough already. Then, here comes the cool part. Sans uppercuts the battle box, so they spam Chris with more attacks and they drop Chris out of the battle box, so they're gonna use their sprite. That's so... Anyway, after a final barrage of final attacks and a 3D segment, goddamn, Gasta's phone seemingly comes to finish the job. Gasta's phone upscale. And that is the end of the animation. And what an amazing one for that. Bro, give it up. Give it up for Venny, bro. Give it up for the GOAT, Venice de Lapis. Another classic. Still no explanation of what Chris was doing here, but we know how the trio came here, and that's all that matters. Anyway, before we get on to the next one, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support on these recent videos. If you could, please leave a like on this video. We're talking about some pretty niche shit, so any support you could give on this video would go a long way. Now, on to the next one. There's a reason why I put the call to action before this trio. Next up on our list is Light Time Trio. Joey, this is all your fault. I deadass nearly gave up on covering this trio, but I did end up being able to infer a story, kind of. But first, let's discuss our Sanses. So, our starting lineup, we've got Hard Mode Sans, the explanation is in the name, Undertale Sans, Sans from an AU where all of the monsters are evil, and Horror Sans. Long story short, it's a post-neutral root Sans whose world lost its core, leading the monsters to starve and go insane. Okay, pretty simple cards for once, didn't take a lot of explaining. Oh, who are you? Okay, so this is Underfun Sans. What's wrong with his head? This is how I draw Sanses, bro. What's going on? And yeah, my Discord couldn't help me here. I looked on the wiki and found a Sans I'm only half sure is the one we're talking about here, but oh well. How many Underfuns could there possibly be? Underfun is just Undertale, but with a higher focus on comedy, which kind of gets thrown to the wayside when the human decides to do a genocide route. We don't get an explanation on how the trio meet up. Maybe Fungaster, maybe Fun Sans, maybe a rift. Pretty convenient rift if so. But the three skeletons arrive at the timeline just in time to watch Fun Sans dust. The three Sanses commit to taking out this human for Fun Sans, despite half of these guys being assholes. Maybe they were in this timeline longer and grew a connection with him. I genuinely don't know. Anyway, in phase 1, the human is only able to take out hard mode Sans. If you know anything about these guys' trio history, you'd know horror and hard mode don't often make it out of phase 1. But I don't think Fun Human had the power of deletion, so horror is probably safe. Hard mode, not so much. But this is a trio, so in his place comes another Underswap AU, Distrust. Just like Vengeance Sans, Papyrus, who takes the judge role, dies in Snowden, leaving Sans, the wannabe royal guard, to fight the human in Judgment Hall. Essentially, Underswap version of Disbelief. From this point on, we more or less get the Distrust show. In Distrust, Disbelief, whatever, we get 4 phases. Phase 1, he reluctantly fights the human. Phase 2, it's no longer reluctant. Phase 3 is a whole bunch of dumb shit, but it's fun and cool, so who cares? And phase 4 is bro doing things his way. So we get that here with the only changes from phase 2 and 3 is Distrust going from phase 1 to 2. Then phase 3.5, the human tries to kill Underfell Sans. So Horror, being immortal, small detail I forgot to mention, tanks the hits for him Piccolo style, and Distrust moves into phase 3, which means phase 4, we get Distrust shenanigans. For example, in Disbelief, Papyrus plays Pong with his resurrected brother. Yeah, don't ask about that. In Distrust, Sans plays Tetris. So in this trio, he plays poker with Underfell and Horror. I'm sorry? Did I blink? What happened to Horror Sans? Is that a fucking Last Breath Sans? Y'all gotta stop shoehorning in this guy into trios, bro. How did he even show up here? Where did Horror Sans go? Is he not immortal? How did Distrust even get here? Okay, fuck. I guess Last Breath is here now and Horror was sick of it. Or I guess his immortality wasn't really immortality. I don't know. Anyway, another Disbelief shenanigan, like I said before, is to make copies of dead people. So whether it be from that or whatever rift is sending these Sanses through, we get Undershuffle Sans. It's just Undyne Sans. It's just Undyne Sans. It's just Undyne Sans. It's just Undyne Sans. Anyway, the jumping isn't enough. So phase 4.5. Wait, what? Last Breath? Okay, no, skip. What? Why does a smaller part of phase 4 have multiple parts? Like, three of them. One of them is just Kara Aura farming. Are you kidding me? Okay, so the important phase 4.5 part, we see Distrust on his phase 4, I still believe in you shtick, or now I guess it's I trust you or whatever. Underfell, it's hit, but hanging on. I haven't seen this since Catastrophe. And Last Breath is going into phase 3. See why that shit was unnecessary? Speaking of unnecessary, Undershuffle Sans seems to also have taken a hit, but his armor seems to have saved him. We get all of the 6 souls in the background, which, unless I'm missing some Underfall lore, isn't something that any of these Sanses do. Oh well, at least it's a smart idea. Anyway, phase 5, you get jumped by all 4, plus the souls, plus Gaster. Is Underfun Human strong enough to take all these guys out? There's a credits thing after this with the Sanses outside, but there's also a phase 6, Deus Ex Machina. That's just Jesus Christ. That's Jesus Sans. From one comment, apparently this is the fusion. Pretty unique fusion, but okay. I think they win. Next fight is Horror's back after like 50 phases. I don't know. I'm just gonna assume this isn't canon as it only shows up in one of the playlists. Phase 5 is probably where they win, make it to the surface, and live happily ever after in Underfun. Phase 6 with the fusion maybe is canon. Phase 6.5 with horror sans definitely isn't canon. I don't know, man. Next trio. And for our last trio is one that was surprisingly popular in the comments of the last video, Resplendent Time Trio, comprising of Green Sans and Dust Trust Sans. Damn, I was gonna do Joke Time Trio, but it looks like we got it here. And Undertale Last Genocide. Wait, what? Okay, so Green Sans is essentially a parody of Fanon Sans's with phase 2s, phase 3s, all that type of stuff. He fights the human over his McDonald's Happy Meal. Valid. We have Dust Trust, who is another swap sans who fights you despite being the papyrus of their world. This time having gone down the Dusttale route, though in some iterations he's more of a joke character. I'm not 100% sure on his lore, but speaking of Dusttale Last Genocide is essentially a Dusttale sans who killed the monsters to gain XP, who also gets the last birth treatment of Gaster showing him the human resets, who also has his own fucking wiki. Anyway, two of these guys seem to be parody AUs, so I don't know why Last Geno is here. By the way, does anyone know what Dust Trust Sword's deal is? Like, I don't know how bro got them, but at least it's better than wielding a phone. And okay, bro. I think I really need a wiki for this one, because bro, who the hell is she? Oh, okay, she's gone. Damn. Anyway, you know how it is. Despite the power of Toon Force and fan service, the Sanses can't keep up with the human. All three Sanses get slashed and... Damn, can I get a translation, please? Looks like bro's ordering McDonald's again, which goes about as well as it did originally for him, and he gets properly pissed. Oh, the first one didn't do it for you? Isn't this how you got into this situation in the first place? Anyway, the three Sanses suit up for phase 2, and the fight begins again. Halfway through, this guy comes in. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I'm expecting another surprise appearance in phase 3 now. Must be a friend of Green Sans, cause here he is. Wait, did he always have that? We got 3 papyruses in the back, so either it's his papyrus, his best friend, or someone completely unrelated to anything. Bro, where do you keep getting these? Even Green's 3rd weapon isn't enough. So we head into phase 3 and... oh, where are the sprites? I wanted to see Green's shenanigans. Wait, isn't that a mic? And why does Dust Trust have one? Last Genocide is in his last breath phase 3 form. I don't think he's possessed by Gaster like in the original, but he's definitely been buffed. Meanwhile, Dust Trust should have fake papyrus with him. I don't know. And Green Sans, well, he's Michael Jackson now. Get with the program. All this isn't enough. So phase 3, we get... where did the Sanses go? So Dusttale Last Genocide used an artificial soul, trying to power himself up, but accidentally let Gaster take complete control of him and turn him into that. Dust Trust absorbed the 5 human souls, and Green Sans, bro's just trying to fit in, leave him alone. It says final in the title, so I assume this is the final phase, but do we have a victor? I don't know, man. We don't even have an explanation of how they got here, but it doesn't matter. Cool music, cool AU, needed more green sprite shenanigans. I think I'm just gonna go watch some Green Sans, to be honest. I was gonna cover Ioric Time Trio next, but there's only one phase, so I decided not to. Trust me, if the next phases are anything like this one, I will definitely cover it, but maybe I'll leave that for a Blue Archive X Undertale crossover video. Joke Time Trio was another one I was gonna do. There's a pre-boot and reboot version, but neither of them are finished. So for now, I think I'm starting to run out of diamonds in the rough. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do in the next video. Oh, well, isn't that convenient?